Jin-Woo was trying to come up with a good excuse as he walked home. Tap. Tap. He tapped Jin-Woo's shoulder. Hey Jin-Woo, he said. Then, louder, Jin-Woo. But there was no answer. Jin-Woo just made sleepy noises, his mouth hanging open a little. Jin-Woo tried shaking him gently, and even slapped him softly on the cheek, but nothing worked. Jin-Woo was totally out. Now Jin-Woo was in a tough spot. There was no way Jin-Woo could take that important test at the association tomorrow, if he didn't sober up. But first things first, Jin-Woo had to get his friend home safely. Jin-Woo grabbed Jin-Ho's phone, wondering who could help. I can't call his dad, Chairman Yo, or his brother Jin-Sung. Who else is there? He thought, scrolling through contacts. A name popped up, Seo-hyun Yo. Unlike his dad, or bro, Jin-Ho had chatted with her a bunch. Jin-Woo hesitated, thinking it might be a long shot to call her. He put the phone down, then checked the shop, just in case everything was okay. Wait, did he just see that? There it was. It was a item condition recovery potion, and getting one wasn't too hard, it fell under the easy category. This potion was a liquid that would help someone feel better when they drank it. You could carry it in your inventory, but you couldn't give it to anyone else. After he bought it, a small bottle appeared on the table. Unlike the red healing potion, or the blue mana potion, this one was as bright as a smiley face. Jin-Woo glanced around to make sure no one was watching, then gently tipped Jin-Yo's head back, and poured the recovery potion into his mouth. Jin-Yo's eyes snapped open suddenly. Boss? He asked, his voice filled with surprise. Jin-Woo was staring down at him, a puzzled look on his face. Jin-Yo tilted his head back and frowned. What are you doing there, boss? Jin-Woo didn't know how to explain the situation, so he decided it was best to act like nothing had happened. He quickly stood up and said, Let's go. Okay. Boss, Jin-Woo replied, jumping to his feet. But then he stopped and looked at Jin-Woo with a confused expression. Huh, he muttered under his breath, clearly unsure of what was going on. Wow, why do I feel so energized today? Jin-Woo stretched his arms up high and arched his back as he followed Jin-Woo. He felt totally refreshed. In the background, the news was still playing. Breaking news. The U.S. government has delayed releasing an official statement about the explosion at the Hunter Command Center. As soon as the sun rose, Jin-Woo headed straight to Daesung Tower. Whoa, it's even taller than I remembered. The skyscraper stood at an impressive 100 stories. Craning his neck to look up made Jin-Woo dizzy, but he couldn't help staring. But wait, what's going on here? Last time he'd visited Daesung Tower, it was super quiet. Now tons of people were rushing in and out like bees buzzing around a hive. The scene around the building was totally different at night compared to daytime. Crowds filled the streets, making it a bustling area. If someone vanished in such a busy spot, it would definitely stir up a lot of trouble. The media was already buzzing about this mysterious figure, so there was no need for extra attention. Jin-Woo never liked being in the spotlight anyway. He slipped away to a quieter corner and pulled out the key to Demon's Castle from his inventory. Jin-Woo held a long golden key that looked fancy at first but wasn't just for show. He glanced around to make sure no one was watching. Time to go in, he said to himself. Activating his stealth ability, he turned invisible and slipped out into the busy streets. Weaving through the crowds, Jin-Woo tried his best not to bump into anyone, but it wasn't easy. Boom! A few people accidentally brushed against him, but no one noticed. They had no idea he was there. This power could be super dangerous if someone used it for bad things. Jin-Woo thought, no wonder high-ranking hunters with abilities like stealth were kept under such close watch. 1 second he was just thinking about it. And the next whoosh, everything around him changed in an instant. Just like when he first crossed that invisible line. His whole world flipped upside down. Even from where he stood, the roar of flames was deafening. If it sounded this intense out here, it must be scorching hot inside. Before him stood a fortress engulfed in fire, towering where Daesung Tower used to be. It was as if the building had been replaced by some kind of demon's castle, blazing with fierce flames that seemed to pulse with life. Humans are seriously tough creatures. I don't feel as nervous as I did that first time, which is kind of awesome. The demon's castle doesn't seem as scary now, which makes this whole adventure feel way cooler. Or maybe, it's just me being way stronger now. Jin-Woo swapped the demon's castle key back into his inventory, and pulled out a gray key instead. Item Castle Door Key. Acquisition Difficulty. Category. Key. This key unlocks the door to the demon's castle. You can get this only when you defeat the gatekeeper. Jin-Woo had obtained the castle door key after defeating Cerberus, the fierce guardian. Last time, he didn't dare enter the castle, because fighting Cerberus was such a tough battle. But now, he finally felt ready to use the key. With a low hum, he summoned his weapon next. Jin-Woo gripped the gray key tightly in his left hand and clutched Barca's dagger in his right. He moved carefully toward the castle door, ready for anything. Cerberus was nowhere to be seen. Maybe monsters like Cerberus don't come back once they're defeated inside the demon's castle. Jin-Woo wasn't sure, but it seemed likely. If that were true, this dungeon would work differently from others he'd been in. In most places, monsters kept coming back, but here, once you beat them, they stayed gone. That made things a bit easier. Still, Jin-Woo stayed alert. He focused on his perception stat, turning it up past 100. Suddenly, his heartbeat thundered in his ears. Kenbur, Bonbomsa wasn't out of fear though. Jin-Woo knew how strong he was now, and that gave him confidence. He stood tall, ready for whatever lay ahead. Feeling tense is one thing, but being downright scared is another. Suddenly, ping. A message popped up while he was standing in front of the castle's massive gates. It asked, "Would you like to enter using the castle door key?" E/Nen. Jin-Woo smirked at how ridiculous that even was a question, and confidently clicked, "Yes." Creak. Without even touching them, the massive doors slowly swung open with a loud creak. Then came a loud thud. He blinked in surprise. What just happened? Jin-Woo stayed sharp, expecting monsters to be lurking behind the doors. But wait, no monsters. Jin-Woo had actually worried that too many would come at him all at once. He'd even thought about heading back to the penalty zone for some extra training by killing giant centipedes just in case. But, what was going on here? Jin-Woo let out a frustrated sigh. He had expected something epic inside Demon's Castle, but the interior was completely empty. "Are you serious?" he muttered to himself, shaking his head in disbelief. He quickly sent Barca's dagger back to his inventory, and stepped inside the castle. As soon as he did, a sudden popping sound chimed in his ear. Jin-Woo instantly summoned 2 daggers, ready for a fight, but it wasn't an enemy, it was just a notification tone. Huh? Jin-Woo frowned, confused. He checked the message that popped up. "A new quest has arrived." A quest? Now, and not even the daily one. Jin-Woo scratched his head, wondering what this unexpected adventure had in store for him. Looking back, the notification definitely wasn't about the daily quest because he had already finished that one earlier and grabbed all his rewards before heading here. So, it must have been a regular quest. Well, there's a first time for everything. Up until now, he'd only gotten hidden quests or super urgent ones, and that doesn't even count the daily quest he got every single day, whether he liked it or not. Jin-Woo's eyes lit up as he received an epic quest. Quest Collect Demon Souls 1 House had just popped up, and he couldn't wait to dive in. Where? The spooky demon's castle was the place, packed with all sorts of demons. His mission: take them down and grab their souls for some awesome rewards. Every demon has at least 1 soul. But here's the cool part. Those on higher floors might have multiple. Talk about a bonus. How to start? Just step into the demon's castle. Goal: collect a whopping 10,000 demon souls. It's a big task, but totally doable with some serious gaming. Let the adventure begin. Check out these awesome rewards. Your choice of any one item too. Ability points plus 23. Mystery reward at 20-point boost. That was the first thing that jumped out at Jin-Woo. I can increase my intelligence by 20 points. He exclaimed, barely containing his excitement. Recently Jin-Woo had learned just how tough it was to have limited mana. I need a lot of mana, so my shadow soldiers can respawn, he thought. But this boost wasn't just about man. It was about getting stronger and unlocking new possibilities. And then there was the mystery reward. Who wouldn't be curious about that? Jin-Woo had figured out that the more intelligent he became, the more shadows he could pull out and keep. So boosting his intelligence was super important. But leveling up and doing daily quests could only get him so far. Getting 20 extra ability points from a quest reward would instantly solve everything. Gulp. And then there was this. Rewards 1. Jin-Woo couldn't believe it. He got a bonus of 20 ability points. But that wasn't all. He also had the chance to pick any item he wanted. His mind raced with possibilities as he thought about the super expensive gear in the shop, especially those top-tier S-rank items priced between a few billion and 10 billion. He was thrilled at the choices available to him. That was 10 billion gold, not real money. It's the currency in this game. But the price didn't matter to him. The Night Killer, one of his weapons now, was totally worth the 3 million gold he spent. If a B-rank item that costs 3 million is this strong and useful, imagine what an S-rank item would be like. Those cost tens, or even hundreds of billions. His curiosity was sparked. The mystery reward was tempting, but those two payouts were already life-changing. At first glance, killing a monster or two for that kind of money seemed effortless. Jin-Woo was stoked to finish the quest quickly and grab his rewards, but when he saw the clear requirement, his excitement vanished. 10,000. He blurted out. That wasn't just one or two monsters, it was a staggering number. Who in their right mind would take on 10,000 creatures without knowing what they were up against? Jin-Woo, however, didn't panic. Instead, he grinned slyly to himself. Sure, it sounded impossible for one person. But he wasn't alone. He currently had 50 shadow soldiers at his command. Sure, here's a rewritten version with a clear, engaging style suitable for a younger audience. If each soldier took out a few hundred demons, hitting the quota would be no big deal. Jin-Woo figured pushing his team hard would make this mission a breeze. Will you accept quest? Collect Demon Souls 1. He was asked. Why not? There was no point in saying no. As soon as he agreed, a counter popped up above him. Demon Souls collected. Souls on thousands. The numbers stared back at him, and Jin-Woo couldn't help but laugh. 10,000 seemed crazy high. Before now, the goal had felt more like an idea than something real. But seeing that zero staring at him made the whole thing feel pretty wild. This version keeps things fun and easy to follow, while sticking to the original story. Another number suddenly popped up in midair, right next to Jin-Woo. He tilted his head in confusion. A message flashed on a glowing hologram. Experience points needed to level up. 60,000. The number 60,000 glowed bright blue and hovered right in front of him. Once he reached that, he'd level up. Wait, could he actually see how many experience points he had now? Jin-Woo had never seen anything like this before. Entering the demon's castle, he took a step back, his eyes fixed on the numbers, then turned around and left the castle. Something weird happened when he stepped out of Demon's Castle. Both his soul counter and experience points vanished. But as soon as he walked back in, they popped up again like nothing had ever gone wrong. It was kinda cool that these counters only worked inside the castle, making things super convenient. Sure, he was bummed he couldn't track his progress outside, but at least it made raiding easier. Then a new thought hit him. Does this mean the whole thing is going to take way longer than he thought? Jin-Woo checked the quest details again, then closed the stat window. That's enough of that, he thought. Now Jin-Woo could finally take a good look around the inside of the demon's castle. What the? Jin-Woo was shocked. Webu shocked. Webu shocked. Webu shocked. Beyond the gate was a city in ruins. He had somehow entered an outdoor dungeon. What's this? Jin-Woo wondered. Is this Seoul? Is this what Seoul would look like if all humans disappeared? And 100 years passed. The city was a dull gray and nothing stirred except for some twitching streetlights. I didn't expect to find an outdoor dungeon. Especially not one that looked just like downtown Seoul. Other instance dungeons like the ones that resembled subway stations or shopping malls were nothing compared to how massive this place was. Jin-Woo stood there gazing at the horizon. Where should he go? What was his target? The city stretched out endlessly like a giant video game level, waiting to be explored. Jin-Woo looked around. He didn't need to think twice. In the distance, a bright beam of light shot up into the sky where Seoul Tower should have been. Let's go there. Jin-Woo started walking toward it. He made a mental note of where the door was, just in case he got lost. But he had to stop soon after.
Cake.
Cake. Very slowly. Small monsters began to emerge from between the buildings. Low-rank demon Jin-Woo could see the dark red letters floating above them. They looked like wingless gargoyles. There were 8 of these creatures in total. A sly grin spread across Jin-Woo's face. That meant 8 souls to collect right off the bat. In a flash, chush. Barca's dagger pierced one monster right between the eyes. You have defeated a low-rank demon. Chush. You have acquired 100 experience points. Chush. You have acquired 1 demon soul. While the other demons were distracted by their fallen friend, Jin-Woo snuck up to another and swung his dagger in a swift arc. Chush. The creature's head rolled off its shoulders. You have defeated a low-rank demon. Chush. You have acquired 100 experience points. Chush. You have acquired 1 demon soul. Each monster gave Jin-Woo 10 experience points. He needed 60,000 to level up. That meant he'd need to take down 600 of these low-ranking demons to reach the next level. Jin-Woo quickly took down the last few enemies with a swift motion. Kree. Breaths with 8 souls collected. He gained 800 experience points, a solid haul. A small step today could lead to big things tomorrow, and Jin-Woo's determination lit up his eyes as he set off to find his next target. Meanwhile, in the White Tiger Guild's president office, President Bake was catching up on paperwork he'd been too busy to handle lately. Suddenly his desk phone buzzed. Boo! He picked it up. Sir Hunter by Ungumin is on the line and would like to speak with you. A voice said over the intercom. Put him through. A moment later, a familiar voice came on the line. Beck bro, why's your phone off? Beck bro, why's your phone off? Dune Host, after taking a deep breath. Because of the reporters, I'm staying under the radar until things calm down. Hey. Didn't you have something to do with the Red Gate? That was all over the news here in Japan too. You looked pretty cool on TV, by the way. Don't even joke about this right now. I'm seriously not in the mood. If I figure out who spilled the beans to the media, there's gonna be trouble. This will all die down soon. There's bigger news. Anyway, bigger news. In Japan, yeah, things are way more serious than we thought. It won't be long before it's all over the news, in Korea too. Why? What's going on? A week ago, a group of hunters in Japan quietly reached out to the Hunters Association and some big Korean guilds. They said they needed advice from Korean hunters about something important. 2 days later, a group of Korean hunters, including Bayun, headed to Japan. Yoonho was super curious about what was going on. Come on, spit it out. This is the first time Japan has ever asked us for help. What's got everyone so worked up? What's with those high and mighty types? He asked. Bayunga hesitated. Ben said, you remember those weird ants from Jeju Island? 4 years ago, a super powerful S-rank gate had opened on Jeju Island, and those strange ants were part of the chaos that followed. Ants had broken out of that dungeon. 3 extermination operations had failed. Eventually the Korean government had given up on Jeju Island, which was now overrun by magic beasts. How could I forget? I almost got killed there. There might be mutants. Mutants. Who cares? Let them fight one another. The thing is, the voice over the phone sounded troubled. The carcass of an ant with wings was found off the coast of Japan. For 2 straight hours, Jin-Woo killed low-rank demons every chance he got. He checked the soul counter. Demon souls collected, 3, 9 and 10,000. He'd completed 3% of the quest. If he kept hunting at this speed, he figured he could level up in just 2 more hours. He was currently level 61, and getting to this point had been a grind. Reaching level 60 to 61 alone took him 9 C-rank dungeons and 2 full days of effort. But here, he could hit the next level in 4 hours. That's mind-blowing. A grin spread across his face as he thought about how insane this was. When was the last time he'd had this much fun hunting? It might have been back when he was at Hapjeong Station, running between the first and second basement floors over and over, until he just couldn't level up anymore. Now, every time Jin-Woo's dagger flashed through the air, Sod Adaman would thump to the ground. Without fail, at least one fell, but sometimes it was even better. Sonk, kek, kick, kek, and then a bunch of demons would drop at once. Hunting like this was exhilarating. Whoa, Jin-Woo was on fire. He took down 20 low-rank demons in what felt like seconds. Awesome, right? With each demon he defeated, his experience points shot up, and he collected more souls. Plus there were some sweet item drops to grab. Jin-Woo couldn't help but grin as he picked them up. Adam low-rank demon's horns, Adam acquisition difficulty, none category, miscellaneous. Adams. These are 2 small horns that drop pretty much every time you defeat a low-rank demon. They might not seem super special, but hey, they're pretty cool to have. Demon horns are super valuable, and can be sold for a lot of money. Jin-Woo found out he could make 20,000 gold, just by selling them in the shop. That's even more than the 15,000 gold the shop paid for Cerberus fangs last time. It seems like the monsters in Demon's Castle are being really generous with their treasures. For Jin-Woo, random items aren't junk anymore. He discovered how useful the shop could be to him. Jin-Woo was in for an awesome surprise while searching through the demon stuff. He had been checking every nook and cranny for anything valuable like drops he could sell or stash away. But then something caught his eye. There, poking out of a demon's belly, was an item Jin-Woo had never laid eyes on before. It looked important, so he grabbed it to check. I am entry permit, and this permit lets you into the second floor of the demon's castle. Jin-Woo's heart raced. What could be waiting for him upstairs? He had no idea how hard it would be to get there, or what category this permit even fell under. But one thing was certain: this discovery could change everything. Jin-Woo found a rolled-up scroll labeled Entry Permit, which piqued his curiosity. As he unrolled it, strange symbols and diagrams stared back at him, making no sense. The only clue was the description. This scroll lets you move from the first floor to the second, using the magical teleport circle. Could this really work? Jin-Woo looked around, trying to make sense of where he was. It was weird. He was inside Demon's Castle, but at the same time he was also in Daesung Tower. If the castle had floors like the tower did, this must be the ground floor. At first he didn't think there would even tumble floors here, because it felt like an outdoor dungeon. But now, it turned out to be way more complicated than that. Could this place really have 100 floors, just like Daesung Tower? Jin-Woo's mind raced at the thought. Let's just say things got weird pretty fast. Jin-Woo stood there, totally stunned by how huge this place was. Wow, could this building really have 100 floors? He wondered if that was even possible. There was only one way to find out: uncover the magic circle. He knew where that teleportation circle had to be. Jin-Woo fixed his eyes on a beam of light shooting up into the sky. That must be the place. Earlier he'd been heading in that direction but got sidetracked by the temptation of hunting some low-ranking demons. I guess it's time to go now, he thought, pushing aside the urge to hunt more. He decided it was time to check out the light. Besides, it looked like he had cleared out all the weaker demons in the area. That made him grin. Summoning shadow soldiers was different from extraction. You didn't need a special phrase for this. All Jin-Woo had to do was call them forth with his mind. Eats-Woo. The massive shadow creature that he'd pulled out of the Ice Bear leader's shadow now appeared in front of him. Gromp. The huge black beast stood on its hind legs, towering over Jin-Woo like a giant. This guy was as big as a house, but when Jin-Woo talked to him, he acted like an overly excited puppy. Down, boy, Jin-Woo said, and the huge magic beast dropped onto all fours. Jin-Woo climbed on its back and gave it a pat.
Hiya!
The moment he did that, the beast took off like a shot toward a bright beam of light.
Thud, 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 thud.
It was moving so fast, it covered ground in seconds. When things got in the way,
Thud nui, kick kick.
Gradala, the beast swiped its massive paw and cleared everything. Instantly, Jin-Woo couldn't help but grin. Whoa, he thought, impressed by his new partner. I thought this would just be fun, but it's actually awesome. He realized they'd probably be doing this a lot, so he decided to give the beast a name. From now on, you're Tank, he said. The shadow beast, now named Tank, lifted its head and let out a mighty roar. Karatala,